Denabananda Dr. Boo Nygren. Hoja Thursday, 1 o'clock, 5:30. Hada Alkiski. Hoja happy 4th of July. And Kadini del Harishim. Hada do Kato Hada that's it. Edan Ligi that's in Kanasta del Dondolasi Hoja. Behani. Sinjono Lata Harishim. And Kalchin Yan, but that no Sado. Alchinias than Lenigi yo. Das Koda yo yedan it little. Hadon late Oda. Others the Kato, Beni Natchip, a hard she parted the other that's a Hatasok is though, that deal don't and no song she had she done Kiddy nothing. I had Kidini the Jono, that the Hoskado, get not in though. Shishin Jonia, Sashi, wanted na his so Tanishi to Abiga. I she be a behon eat or what a sentado, big gashido, the bed that she begin eat or chinny as the. Shibikidin io da sashin asido bohonet zada shirida zebichi nahot edo athoda bihindo kasigi hayashi nahot in the horoya nenashni yat do happy 4th of July din nidel horoya todinesh jen aroya hanen kechishle Kenyenta Arizona do horoya Dr. Boo Nygren, Navajo Nation President. Upcoming holidays or appreciation days. Happy Independence Day. Today we celebrate the 4th of July from 1776 to present day. Independence Day on July 4th is considered the anniversary of the birth of the United States of America. It marks the adoption of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. It declared the rights to 13 colonies to govern themselves independent of Great Britain and the monarchy King George. The Declaration of Independence outlined the principles that serves as the foundation of American freedom, liberty from monarchy, democracy, and the rule of law. Today we celebrate with parades, family gatherings, barbecues, rodeos, and fireworks when the sun goes down. Horoshi, Sladin Hahot Zoji, but there's Chinahalom Ban, Saha Kesa, Sayego, Horoya Stadin Halzobe, Bakau, Keda Honit, Enigi, Beninachat, Enerkaman Hastan, Bahotel Zinigi, Don Hisalal, so you get that there's Edo each on da Bahigi. Ey, Behani, happy 4th of July. Our local announcements. Missing Navajo people reports from the Navajo Police Department this week. From the Chinle Police District, 24-year-old Anthony Jason Begay was last seen Thursday, June 20th in Phoenix. He's 5'7", 130 pounds, brown eyes, and black hair. If you have any information, call Chinle Police, 928-674-2111 from Shiprock Police Department. 29-year-old Tamara Rachel Tan was last seen Sunday, June 23rd in Shiprock. She is 5'7", 130 pounds, brown eyes, and black hair. She was last seen wearing a black fleece jacket with a zipper and gray shirt, black pants, and black shoes. If you have any information, call Shiprock Police Department, 505-368-1350. Horoshin Kedeneche had the Benantagi. Bijit Daisy again. Kespada Huzan Oshe Salau, but you had the Hotosne. A message from our Department of Health. The Navajo Nation Special Diabetes Program provides diabetes education prevention through nutrition, education, and physical activity in the Navajo Nation and surrounding communities. The Special Diabetes Program has events happening throughout the summer. Check them out on social media or call 928-871-6532 for more information. You can prevent or delay type 2 diabetes with proven lifestyle changes such as watching your diet, losing weight, and getting physically active. Horoshi, da hayani bini nache yego na adults on dot order na anjos also bini nache kits ispa hayani hajob ke test either le hoinzon issue hoja Department of Health but the inishki hot on khan kiss. A special message from the Division of Social Services as summer heat sets in. Staying hydrated is essential. Water sustains us, nourishes us, preventing dehydration, which can cause fatigue, dizziness, and heart stroke. Carry a water bottle, encourage regular water intake, and check on individuals. Together, we stay strong and healthy. Water is life. Together, we thrive. Horoshi, tade stuigi binachet honantli, do binachet heda, but tada kahida, banan tauda. Tunda Atlanta da Hido no Nande no Cartel Aho Yanda Ki Tohigi Eben Hansa Hakis Toebe Ina How does Temporary Assistance for Needy Families work? Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF, is a federally funded program that helps eligible families become self-reliant. The Navajo Nation Department for Self-Reliance administers tribal TANF. This program allows children to be cared for in their own homes or relatives' homes. The DSR guides applicants on program guidelines and TANF-related incentives. More information is available at https://nndsr.navajo-nsn.gov. Requirement: have at least one child under 18, meet income guidelines, be U.S. citizen living within the Navajo Nation, legal guardianship, adoption papers if applying for a non-related child. Khodoshim, amado ba'alshin ba'achayanigi asiyego ha'ishibedidajinlong. Peso be nkado walagi tenef eshi khadidili de Washington bebelkhaz anigida eshi eltse khodo banad nesh khatlan so Navajo Nation tenef honda hodolne dohone nanigi Navajo life lesson. All life is interconnected. Chief Seattle once said, "Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself." Navigating life is a delicate dance with nature and our fellow five-fingered beings. We do not create the natural world, but are a part of it. This perspective calls for humility and respect towards nature and each other. The quote also reflects indigenous wisdom, which emphasizes the sacredness of living in harmony and khojong. In today's context, it serves as a poignant reminder of the consequences of our actions on the world around us and encourages a holistic and compassionate approach to life. Khodoshi, Hastkin Chief Seattle Gendem, Nisinzinigi Hwashi Alts Isogode, Atha, It Oro Lech no Bachaneo, Beninanigi Yasego Hotshago, Nehamana Hassan, Bakao Keda Honit Inigi. At and dilzino beni nache hojo hol yahegi be nasko yi kahoe at and njono hojo bao nasko in naejil hodo Navajo life lesson eshi hoterolis. A few of the week's accomplishments. I signed a $94,000 HVAC service contract to upgrade the Kayenta and Tuba City Police District offices. The contractor will assess the condition of all HVAC units, air vents, and ducts to ensure compliance with industry standards. With the Navajo Nation Department's approval, they will upgrade the HVAC units, repair, clean air vents, and ducts. The Tuba City Police Building will receive 3 new HVAC units. This contract also includes emergency services and preventative maintenance to ensure the longevity of our HVAC systems. Be hos kaze ye lwasigido nelchida be atkin bin dast igi hajod nol ilto halcheda dol nilha no 94,000 bitch holiaro le. I amended a $1 million intergovernmental agreement contract with the New Mexico Department of Indian Affairs for the KCAZ Justice Center. This amended changes the project title, extends the reversion date to June 30th, 2025, and modifies the project purpose. This extension allows us time to create a facility master plan, design the Justice Center, and extend infrastructure for the Bill's site in Fort Defiance. The Window Rock Judicial Public Safety Building was closed in December 2022 due to its age and deterioration. Over 75 people were employed there, and it provided services to over 1,000 people each year. We are excited about the creation of the building plans and the eventual opening of the KCAZ Justice Center. On March 12, the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch, Public Safety Programs, and the Public Defender's Office reviewed the programming and space plans. I signed a $1.2 million intergovernmental agreement with New Mexico Indian Affairs for powerline projects. This agreement will plan, design, and complete archaeological and environmental studies for powerline extensions. These extensions will provide electricity to homes in Nashchitty, Mexican Springs, Fort Defiance, Red Valley, Tseyatwa, Chichiltwa. For these projects, the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority will operate and maintain additional power lines, while CPMD will provide project management and monitoring. In Tseyatwa and Chilchita, Continental Divide Electric will extend power lines 4 miles to provide electricity to 8 homes in Tseyatwa and 2 homes in Chilchita, completing house wiring if needed. Horoshim. Yo toja ha zoja aja bitchlis nanigi bitna nishigi be solan hichona de yagi njono be dar do nishkhoje de ne ha acho keda hat inigi Aya de Quigo Shin Basel cheat a little it all the ne, but you hold no, not sauce Belana Salim. I signed a $325,000 intergovernmental agreement for Upper Fruitland Chapter Cemetery. CPMD will evaluate, design, and develop the community cemetery to meet the needs of a growing Fruitland community. A land surveyor, archaeologist, and environmental and design firm will assist in developing the project. The design firm will also help in creating the procurement package for companies to bid on. Our goal is to complete the design phase by December, retain a design firm by March 2025, and contract with a fencing company by June of next year. These projects symbolize progress, resilience, and the unwavering commitment to our community's future. Each contract signed and a milestone reached represents a step towards a stronger, more connected, and vibrant Navajo Nation by upgrading our police districts, extending essential power lines, and planning new community facilities. We are investing in the well-being and prosperity of our people. Together, we are weaving a brighter future, one that honors our Navajo heritage while embracing the opportunities ahead. Horoshim, na nish beda inishigi horoa se yego besli chi dal dolt ito salao pahakinda bakida dest inigido nasta hodesh jiji la kinnada hoido nefigi eye beso bcho hodel yaigasi pa heta nitsin eye be nasko nani katolil. Major projects I am working on. I signed a $1 million intergovernmental agreement with New Mexico Indian Affairs for the Tohatchee Chapter Public Safety Complex. This funding will be used to plan, design, construct, and furnish and equip a public safety building safety complex for years. There has been a need for public safety substation to address local criminal activities and emergencies. Community members have had to wait up to 4 hours for services from police, fire, and EMS. This new facility will enable immediate response. The planning group will use the 15,000 square feet floor plan from the Twin Arrows Public Safety Substation. The team selected an A&E firm and will complete designs using funds from the state of New Mexico. I signed a $100,000 IGA with the state of New Mexico for the Crown Point Land Office. Crown Point, a major town in the Eastern Agency, provides essential services such as housing, schools, and a hospital, a college, and government services. A new governmental building is critically needed to support surrounding chapter members and provide vital services. The Navajo Nation Broadband Office presented the Navajo Nation Broadband Plan at the 2024 Chapter Technology Conference. They interacted with the community members, listened to broadband needs, and integrated these concerns into their plan. Improved broadband will enhance the responsiveness of first responders, children's access to educational resources, and the ability to stream local radio stations on cell phones. The Housing Improvement Plan, HIP staff conducted outreach events at 8 chapters accepting applications at Whitehorse Lake, Herfino, Manuelito, Tseyatwa, Fort Defiance, Whippoorwill, Tuba City, and the Navajo Nation Museum. HIP funding is based on the number of applicants from each of the 12 BIA regions. So far, staff have received over 300 applications and are waiting for 200 more to be completed. Our MMIP and Disability Liaison, Yolanda Azusa, is working with local advocates. She collaborates with Katie Benali, who proposed the Angel Shade Project to the city of Gallup. They aim to install shade shelters and benches for MMIW and other locals who provide food and clothing. Ms. Azusa wrote a letter of support for the project, now moving into Phase 2. These projects symbolize progress and resilience. Each contract and milestone represents a step towards a stronger and more connected Navajo Nation by building public safety complexes, improving broadband access, supporting housing, and advocating for community needs. We are investing in our people's well-being and future. Horoshi na nishbita inishigi salab kinda hajo cheda do nildo nilche pensa kesi be na inishido het ola hawan hajo cheda do nil khat nenigi donle haw kin tatado had neke that enigi hajo sani that enigi bikida test enigi eye hodo bita inishigi als iso ben kilna hosne. Meet and greets. The First Lady and I attended the Pride Festival on Saturday. Last year, I declared the third week of June as Navajo Nation Pride Week. This year's motto was Ayo Ani Nishne, I love you. Navajo Nation Pride offers a $1,000 Rainbow College Scholarship to one undergraduate and one graduate student who identifies as LGBTQIA+ and have made significant contributions to the community. I signed the Navajo Housing Authority's 2025 Indian Housing Plan allocating $97.2 million for housing projects, including 20 new units in Pine Hill, New Mexico. In recent years, NHA has significantly increased its housing expenditures, planning to spend $113 million in 2025. I attended the 58th annual Azeh Be Nahara of the Nen Nation Convention in Chinle, supporting our traditional teachings and ceremonies of the peyote way of life. This year's theme was Keeping What's Sacred, Sacred to Heal Ourselves. I met with Navajo Nation Water Department resources to discuss various water infrastructure projects in different stages of the 164 approval process. There are 13 projects in the Eastern Agency, including Lake Valley Residential Wells, Carson, Burnham Regional Water Projects. Students from all around participated in the end of school year bash, enjoying softball, baseball, workshops, field day activities. Many left with new shoes, fans to stay cool, back to school items. Despite the event being cut short due to a thunderstorm, families enjoyed themselves. These initiatives reflect our community to progress, inclusivity, community well-being. We are building a stronger, more connected Navajo Nation. Horia de Quigo Shimben Kesnahasnagi, the Neat Enebalash, Hatnagi Dilzen, Doze Benahagi do, the Neda Tobich Hoda do Nis, Hatnagi don lay, and Kenanish de Yossi Inekshe, Beso Sabachonanas Yago, the Never Cave a Kaat in Hawan, Nada he don't Niso, Eyet Beda Inish. Upcoming events. It was great to see a lot of you last night at the Tuba City fireworks show. And thank you to the Tuba City local governance for putting on such a wonderful show for all of Western Agency to view the fireworks show last night. And thank you for everyone getting home safe last night. And also thank you to Kayenta Township for putting on a wonderful parade this morning. I enjoyed running back and forth, saying hello to our relatives, to our elders, to our children. Continue to be safe and take care of one another. And I'm so happy we got to see each other last night and today. And this weekend is the second annual Cody Jesus bull riding event featuring junior bull riding, mini bull riding, and fireworks, followed by a dance at Nakle Hall. Admission is free with a $20 parking fee. Doors open at 3 p.m. and bull riding starts at 7 p.m. at the Dean C. Jackson Arena in Window Rock, Arizona. For highlights and more information, visit CodyJesus.com or email Cody@CodyJesus.com. Cody Jesus is dedicated to giving back by conducting youth bull riding workshops and ensuring competitors are well equipped and compensated. Sales and Sales Production Rodeo will host an open show rodeo tonight, July 4th, and tomorrow, July 5th in Kayenta, Arizona. The first performance is tonight at 6 p.m. with a 9 a.m. slack and a second performance around 6 p.m. tomorrow. Events winners will receive embroidered vests. The junior all-around will get a custom tool saddle, and the all-around cowboy and cowgirl will each receive $1,000 in cash. Good luck to all the cowboys and cowgirls competing in the 4th of July rodeo all across the great Navajo Nation and beyond. The Navajo Nation Department of Agriculture will conduct a wool and mohair by July 16th through the 18th. Sheep herders can bring their wool and mohair to Nakle Hall at the Navajo Nation Fairgrounds in Window Rock from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Staff will accept all grades of wool separated by color and clean with no debris. For more information, contact Sean Holgate, 928-871-6605, or Benita Litzen, 480-290-8900, or email sean.holgate@navajo-innocent.gov or blitzen@denecollege.edu. This event is organized to support our sheep growers who have struggled to find buyers for their wool. Horoshi de Quigoshi, Alabanda Diltegin da Algedo and Kinkineda that the Lohoda late Horinesh don late Sabogan Hodzanda Harishi Kalis Tle Bekaten da Altegi and Beyat en Kedini Dolke that not Italy Arolto. Horo July 16 through the 18th AI is a bedal nitole and Kamasanedon Kitchedon Kidanosinikim at the Bebaga Har Lashana Hidon Nitanosene. Heshin Nakle Hall, July 16th through the 18th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Adashin Dahido Hiel Don and gets on Dahidilne. Eya Nkinashnio, Haleta Dil Nisa Donene, E Adashin the Bebagan Dahido Hiel. Ebe, Horoya, the Nebananda Dr. Boo Nygren, Hojet, Thursday, 1 o'clock, 5:30. Kanen Kitchenish, Ingin Hedin Sendo. data hosniadon, kikinada hazurtlo, Nasco, Nadino, Catalito, Horo, Hagone, and Hedini, Daroshi, Domona, Asligo, Dinjigone, Danisho. Next week, she 1 o'clock, 5:30. Horo, Hanen Hitchana, Hona de Schlith. Thank you, and God bless the great Navajo Nation, and take care of one another. See you next week. Yarat Shakeros of the Nahoroya, the Nebananda, Dr. Boo Nygren, Hoja Thursday, 1 o'clock.
Mr. President, thank you very much. My name is Stephen Etzity. I will be providing you some updates on what has been taking place within the Navajo Nation Environmental Protection Agency over the last several weeks. First of all, Che Tuahe Glini Nishle, Aro Ashe Edishia, Twotsortni Edisha, Twotchini Edishanella. I reside in the community of Coal Mine Canyon, Arizona, and Western Agency. That's where I married into, and my wife and my children are from that area. Originally, I'm from Lucajigay, Arizona, and that's where my Tuaheglini relatives are based, and my Twotsohniche relatives are from that community. I grew up on Zislagene, Black Mesa area, Black Mesa region. That's where my father's from the community of Forest Lake, Arizona. So I have a lot to report, so let me get right to it. I've spent a lot of time over the last last 4 months actually, working on a new technology that is called high pressure slurry ablation. And this technology has been in development since before the pandemic. It came as a presentation to the Navajo Nation in 2019. It went in front of the Deneh Uranium Remediation Advisory Commission, which at that point, the Durack Commission referred it to Navajo EPA. And since that time, we have worked with the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the company called DISA Technology to develop it. And it was funded by US EPA to conduct a pilot study. And that pilot study started in about 2021. The field work for it was done in 2022, and all of the final reporting was completed in 2023. On December 26th of 2023, the US EPA completed its review of the outcomes, the final report on that treatability study, and it provided some really positive and interesting results. Basically, what this technology does is it uses water and high pressure to force the water to force particles from the abandoned uranium mining waste rock to then hit each other and then separate particles from each other. And the sand rock that is most affected by this forces and impacts causes a separation from the sand and any remaining radioactive materials such as radium-226 or uranium that is left in the waste rock. So it ends up dividing a huge pile of waste rock into two separate waste streams. One that has a residual higher level radioactivity. That's what we call, or what the company calls the fine material, and it has a higher radioactive reading at the end of the treatment process. And then the other part, which is the larger volume of the material, is called a coarse material, and it has a lower level of radioactivity. And we're hoping that this treatment technology can be used in the process of cleaning up these abandoned uranium mines on the Navajo Nation. And we're looking at the principles of waste minimization and making the waste that will be in the lower level of radioactivity also being less leachable, meaning it has less or no ability to further contaminate groundwater. That's one of the outcomes of this treatment process. The treatment process was tested at the bench level with very low quantities, and Navajo EPA has been exploring and is starting discussions with US EPA to conduct a phase 2 or a second run at the technology at a higher level, a field scale study. So we want to be able to run a higher amount of volume of waste rock material through this process and see what the results yield. The initial bench level treated less than 1,000 pounds of material at the pilot level at 3 different sites on the Navajo Nation. And we want to go back and select one of those sites and treat a much larger volume to see if the outcomes are still very robust and very promising. And we're looking to get this thing done this year. We have a very good meeting with the US EPA on July 2nd, earlier this week, to try and move this further down the line. There's a lot of things that are involved in putting this treatment technology in place on the ongoing cleanup progress. And we will be continuing to do our part to answer EPA's questions and to see how we can integrate this into all of these processes that are currently underway. First, I want to take this opportunity at this point to let you know that there have been 8 decision documents that the US EPA has put out so far for public comment and review. And so I want to thank all those people across the Navajo Nation who have taken the time to review these documents and then to submit your public comments to the US EPA on the options and alternatives for remedial action going forward. We still have more of these decision documents. They're called engineering evaluation and cost analyses documents that are in the pipeline and that will be coming forward for public review and public comment. But so far, we have 8 of them that have gone through a public comment and public review. And I want to extend my appreciation to community members and organizations that have taken the time to go through these very technical material and very voluminous, hundreds of pages, over 1,000 pages when you include all of the appendices and attachments and all of the files that are associated with these documents. I want to encourage and give heads up to members of communities where other ECA documents are being developed to participate in the outreach efforts that US EPA and Navajo EPA will be conducting, and to continue to look forward to providing your input into these cleanup decisions that the US EPA will be making. We want to have more and more people become educated and participate in this process. So far, the outcome of the public comment period has been relatively low. I know that for the one that was completed, the very first one that was completed in 2023, I believe we had about 29 complete submittals. And then for the last round of decision documents that completed public comment, we had, again, less than 30 people provide comments. And so I know that the US EPA will continue to make improvements on your ability to provide comments and to provide informed comments. It is a very challenging task to communicate all of this technical material and this huge process called the CERCLA remedial action process, and so that you can be informed as to how your input is important and how it will be used. One of the things that we do get from EPA upon our requests from last year is a follow-up discussion when the public comment is completed and EPA has conducted their analysis, we ask them to come back and sit in front of our oversight committee along with Navajo EPA and to find out how they have received public comment, what they have analyzed in that public comment, and how it will be included in the process going forward as they make their final decision. We had such a meeting on the last round of ECA documents on May 20th of this year. There is a couple of abandoned uranium mines that are in the process of the public comments being analyzed, and we look forward to another meeting with EPA coming up very shortly as they wrap up the analysis of that public comment and prepare it for a report and a discussion and hopefully a high-level consultation with US EPA on these matters. Other areas that we're working on, there are a lot of other issues where we want to provide assistance and help when it comes to dealing with contaminated sites. And we have been working with Dr. Andy Nez, the delegate from Navajo Sawmill, Fort Defiance area within the Fort Defiance Agency, who is proposing to establish a remediation fund. And I really appreciate this legislation because it is the beginnings action to address an area that has long been overlooked. And these are the places on the Navajo Nation where there are no funds readily available to help with the assessment, developing a cleanup plan, and then cleaning up abandoned sites that have been contaminated or old and economic development sites that no longer has a viable lessee or other former industrial areas where processes were used that ended up contaminating the land. And we want to have a fund available to provide the initial support for the initial steps to address these sites. The community of Navajo, New Mexico, in Delegate Nez's area, is the home of the former Navajo Forestry Products Industry site, which was a Navajo enterprise long ago, and it has left a lot of contamination. And we've been developing a cleanup program for that over several years, over a decade now. And this fund would certainly help to continue to support that effort. But we've also identified other potential areas across the Navajo Nation, such as the old BIA complex in Toye, which was then used subsequently in various capacities for other organizations and other uses. Most notably, it was a former site of the Navajo Police Academy for some years in the 1990s. We also have some abandoned economic development leases. If you've ever driven through Curly Valley and outside of Tuba City, you'll see the former Vans Trading Post that's sitting there as a damaged building with it's just been sitting there since it went up in flames. And so that site may be a very good candidate for getting some funding from this eventual pot of money. There are other communities. I know that in Pinon, the old Pinon Mercantile site was also closed up and then it burned down. And thankfully that site has been cleaned up to a certain extent, but it may still need some further assistance to get it ready for eventual reuse. And reuse here is the key word. There are these properties and there are these situations where there are very few funds available to deal with these lands. And these lands are by and large within a developed area already. And so when it gets to the questions of how do we move forward, those conditions of existing activities ongoing around these sites make for challenging projects to get in there and clean up and then to put it back into reuse. And so I think this proposal is very good and it deserves full consideration by our Navajo Nation Council, and we hope to get this legislation in front of the council. It has been in front of the council before in a prior proposal, but this time it's a much broader scope, looking at all of the potential places across the Navajo Nation where we have buildings that need to be demolished, buildings that were built before 1970. Some of these buildings were built in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s and contain a lot of hazardous substances such as lead paint, PCBs in the lighting, certainly asbestos in many of the insulation areas within these buildings. And some of these structures are very large and become very costly when it comes to the estimates to dispose of the demolition of these structures. But clearing the way for their reuse on the land that they sit on is a very important subject matter for the nation to take up, because we need to reuse these lands. They can be cleaned up. It just takes a little bit more effort. Lastly, I'll say that we're left with these situations because we didn't think at that time about the end result of what would happen once these buildings reach their end of use. And so this funding will help us become more cognizant, and will deal with those buildings that didn't have that foresight 50, 60 years ago when they were initially constructed. So with that, I would like to end by saying, want to give your attention to a couple of things. My understanding is that the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority recently published in various formats, but I saw it on their Facebook page, what's called the annual Consumer Confidence Report, and it shows a compliance that the NTUA has achieved with all of the drinking water systems that they operate for our Navajo people. And that report is assuring all consumers who receive water through NTUA systems that they have been inspected and that they are in compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. As we implement that program here directly under a primacy authorization from the US EPA, the Navajo Nation has been implementing that program since the early 2000s, and we continue to do a good job, and we want to continue working with NTUA to provide safe drinking water every time you turn on the tap. So look for that report. It is a very important compliance measure and information source for anybody that has questions about their drinking water quality. Lastly, I want to just tip my hat to the community of Redwater Pond Road in Southeast Coyote Canyon chapter and Northwest Pinedale chapter, and the very far north reaches of the Church Rock chapter. This community will be holding its annual commemoration event, which remembers the impact of the release of radioactive waste and water fluids from the United Nuclear Corporation old mill site, and continues to raise their concerns and the priority needs for cleanup for the old mines that were abandoned in that area, and for the ongoing work of making sure that that old uranium mill site continues to be protective in terms of its ongoing cleanup and monitoring, and provide for additional safety and security for the residents who are in around that area called Redwater Pond Road. Their event is scheduled for July 13th, and I encourage people to come on out to that part of North Route 566, just as you turn off of the freeway near the Fire Rock Casino and head towards the community of Church Rock chapter. On your way to the Red Rock State Park, that is 566. Just keep going north until you get to the end of the highway, and there's a short dirt road with a big old sign that says Redwater Pond Road Community Association, and you'll see a big, huge that they have constructed to hold this commemorative event. There'll be events all throughout the day, a walk in the morning, along with a lot of presentations and productive speeches continuing to outline the challenges and the hope for appropriate cleanup at those sites, and for all of these issues where communities are impacted by abandoned uranium mines across the Navajo Nation. So with that, I want to, again, thank everybody for your attention, and look forward to seeing you out in the communities as Navajo EPA does its summer inspections and summer outreach across all of our programs. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone. Hope everyone's having a great afternoon, enjoying the beautiful weather today. She Athelbranchian she bin patotni nishle nakai bashis chin sinajani desha she aronakai dashanala. And she Deneba Washington bit agati aitso. I'm the nation's Attorney General, and happy to be here with all of you today. First thing I want to talk about is progress on our water settlements. As many of you know, we had our Rio San Jose stream system water rights settlement approved by Navajo Nation Council by unanimous vote in late May. And we also had our Northeastern Arizona Indian water rights settlement agreement approved by Council also unanimously at the end of May. And the Northeastern Arizona water settlement was also unanimously approved by the Hopi Tribal Council that same week, and the San Juan Southern Paiute the same day that our council approved the settlement. So that was really exciting to have full tribal support for those settlements, or at least the Northeastern Arizona settlement. And so we're looking forward to moving that forward through the congressional process. So we've been laying the groundwork for that the last month or so, lining up sponsors, and are looking forward to imminent introduction of that legislation. Right now, Congress is on recess. And so we weren't able to get it introduced ahead of recess for the two houses, but we are looking forward to introduction very soon. So stay tuned for that. And we're very excited to be crossing that threshold as well as we move forward in this process. And as many of you know, it's a multi-step process. So all of the settling parties have to approve the settlement, and then Congress has to authorize it. Part of that is just authorizing the settlement of the legal claims for the consideration that's included in the settlements. And oftentimes that includes either money or projects. And then once Congress approves the settlement, and they may change it a little bit based on what they think is appropriate, and then we have conforming edits. The legislation goes to the settling parties, and then we adjust the settlement agreement to fit the terms of what's authorized by Congress. And then that gets signed by all the parties again, and then that gets entered into a final decree and judgment with the court. And then that's when we are done with the settlement process. And some of these things have to happen before dollars flow as sort of conditions precedent that Congress will set. So it's a long process, but we are hoping to get this Congress this year to pass the settlement legislation, both for our Arizona and New Mexico settlements. And we are on track for that. And so everyone, please send your positive vibes and your prayers. And then the next major thing that has been, I guess, at the fore recently was a work session that we had last week with the Law and Order Committee in Albuquerque. The chief prosecutor presented a number of proposed amendments to the criminal code. And we've been trying to revise the criminal code for the last, this is the third administration to really take on comprehensive reform of our criminal laws. And it's very much needed. There are some things that just absolutely must change. For example, eliminating statutes of limitations for serious violent crimes like homicide, aggravated assault, as well as sex crimes against children, these are cases that we should be able to prosecute at any time. And it's very important that we have that ability because oftentimes our statute of limitations under tribal law for criminal violations is the same as a federal statute of limitations. So if the feds don't prosecute and we have the same statute of limitation, then the victims get no justice. And the feds have a very strict standard for evidence and proof. And we definitely want our tribal prosecutors to get an opportunity to try these cases in court and get justice for the victims and their families. So it is unfortunate that it's taking so long to move this forward, but we're very hopeful. And there's been a lot of progress made, a lot of work that's gone into this. And so hopefully we'll see some legislation introduced to bring about the much needed changes. And the chief prosecutors work very closely with the public defender. We really wanted to put together a package that everyone could support as an initial matter, and then maybe later have a package of, things that maybe tough on crime, for example. Certainly, I think there are some changes that can be made to disincentivize offenses, but the last package of amendments included some of those provisions, and that package did not move forward successfully. So that's why we're looking for something that everyone can agree on in terms of these needed changes, like these important changes in the statute of limitations I just mentioned. And then I just wanted to report out that our Office of the Prosecutor is now at above 90% staffing, which is incredible. We came in at just having 2/3 the staff that we should have. And so we've brought that back up. Very, very excited about that. And we're working hard at the Department of Justice to also improve our staffing there as well. And we've been very blessed with having a great cohort of 10 interns this summer to help us advance the work of the department. And we've had some successes in recent hires as well. So very, very good to see all of that progress moving forward. And also just looking forward to across the board with the change in leadership at DPM to having the executive order the president signed over 6 months ago actually implemented, so that we can have the rapid hiring for the many vacant positions that we have in Navajo government. This is very important because we're not able to do the work if we don't have people to do the work. And some of the offices are at 25% vacancy, 30% vacancy, and it's just really tough to do the work of government without people to get that work done. So really, really hopeful on that front. There are other things I want to talk about, like some really great work sessions one work session that happened last week on Monday about Title 26 reform and local government reform. So we're very hopeful about that. My team is putting together, led by AAG Rod Begay, some proposed amendments to Title 26. And of course, we had a really awesome lunch and learn last week on that subject. And so if you didn't get to sit in on that, please join, watch that. It's on the president's page as well as my Facebook page. There was a lot of great discussion about when local governments are exercising broader authority and doing it well, you see some really important, exciting change at the local level. And in fact, some of the local governments are choosing to confederate essentially with other local governments to be able to consolidate resources and have a broader impact for local communities. So very exciting to see. And we want to make sure that any amendments can enhance all of that and ensure that local governments continue to strengthen and serve the needs of the people at the local level. And then last thing I want to say is that this month is the Arizona primary. So please, everyone, turn out to the polls. It was great to see the turnout for the New Mexico primaries. And if you experience any problems in accessing the polls or voting, please contact my office, 928-871-6234, and you can leave a message for myself or AAG Catherine Belzowski. She is the Assistant Attorney General who addresses voting rights matters in our office. But hopefully everything goes smoothly and everyone have a great month. Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas Cody with you. has gone so on slit cut the sun versus chain. Now can you the Chido my discussion? I am the executive director for social services, could you social service with it. Then shut on these the Kushi data is that you know on Dino at a connect law in his KAR presentations. Sai go na ben his condition D477 but then they Washington de base the heighten de ki chuk ade as nas jago ade kujni hin de Indian Health Service de ado ya be Title 4E that is no ado a burial assistant ado lahi a art as on as netgo a hanan tako eben na konsa e di lahi bigi do khaten tata halande Washington de do khan nakhil anan tati giben na ko eben na di 477 bit no ko se bina there's the that as a bit of deal nishikwa di beso added I can then take asahaj is hito netkota it on an takoi asahado beso nis anan tato ben anisto let no kota di presentations kota in also di la ado kote the oversight committee the chair Vince James so should Jermaine Simonson aja Island that's the KGAK the Yala asleep na Kone na big committee to last days ago Speaker Crystalline Curley launch at Nanta 8 years Halanta asleep the art and Navajo Nation Council not Jackie but that nani Kiko they're not Lata asleep though put D477 plan the 90 days negotiation period but the quite hard it was neato but hard but not on this nini jay kali de na Canadian need a back to school bash in Fort Defiance as I see on the president ade na khani ya ado chne not ja ado yando kaida no kai sa asa chida ibanda dit asa no na la na strand das kasta strand nezatin kha asasli chindo strido masanda da edo other tribal employees that booth that set up at the la hota eta ilian kha chinaba ado na kone the preserving Navajo families but na jo kon ni khade khe halet jo the jo president I dan de o he hata le hana de yadat it ade keta hat in be kato jo ein kota in his no ko in he could also service preserving Navajo families but it no that they nishti hashin tsagedi the shorty that the Tahtai Kagi Bishandales, although Native American Church, although it is what I Bishandales, the Halate John, et or Nito Halo, John here, Nahachin, Bahil Yard or less, Halasai, the Nahachin Deutsch, das Kit das Lay, Hashit, that in case of Adon Hachina Wahato Bichada Hashik. Oh, Annie, which oh, you Hachina Bichai has dot the killed in a gay aid or Dako. A quanit had a Kaiko preserving Navajo families, lay President on he. Chinley the Sahadling or 80 Native American churches that Benahaga of the Navajo Nation, but no other Satas, other Sato, but as Chiniki Friday, but you had the other Saturday go at the art Hiko, at the hot eye, but now she's net, put on he cut or ja. I don't hit the dish. Naha Chinaka, Chinketa, Iniki, but you had off ne. A bit of dog nil. She has a away until the day sees. 8 or 80 cent, Behuti Tras, since I had to eat us. What I didn't have, she had, she get a hat in the cotton his zard I did, so I get a skated ni adult to the Diego, but a skated ni huyat, a cota ashwode. شاخد أتوصيل أخد أي كيدنا قاسة إنجيل بكحيش لا سألت شنو بتروحشنا شأوي بتروحشنا بالتدس زن آدو سندو سبحدي شك أحط خاص بتشنو خد خد بالنجيل نسنو نيجي خدنا كنا دي كيد دي إكوا Indian Child Welfare Program إحنا إن هو إن خالشن خبا تحيا إن لي Albuquerque ده foster parents or foster kids الكيجي is Crescentia سود لأج اللاج بتا النشكي الكيجي is غادي نشزاد آدو نشأول تريان الإنجي نك أتش تخا نيلتا fry bread خاجي خد ديت no قد آدو ماكسن دي كلتشل إنج آدو آدي تقدو ياكوي تأتال إنجي بنان كنو دي جت بلقانا نخالشن نخيا أتحليا لتو قد ديلني خا نتزت أنا تاك as خا نتزت دي foster children كي بس خد إشكنيت إشو President دي foster parents and it's all foster kids like الشن خبأت يعني نهاز خنا نشيك دوت جابت نبيزاد نخي بتريدا تكيدو ليش نخي سوي وقت بعد إليادو نجنق الله أنا زاتي نب أزن خاص لي كوي نجنق بتريدا تكيدو سندا النبك أحس سنقو خدت آخن خالشن التحدي بدنا وقت قاشو دا church دا citizen هنو استقالة نك أحسبت نحو استقال هذا دول زه كود نزون قوي بتشي دا كده كده جيدي travel employees نحتني كود ده يستاقو دي نخبنا أدي كده جو قا يدا ناس كده هالنسلني these salary increases President Hanatzi na ho na nation leniki na benan nesto yik abits and lahagi de hoto nil that no ben de nation de oyo da nas kid the quishi tra da zen de ze do jo ben an national halden go koton nil ne ado Department Personnel Management do ado Chief of Staff do ben adil kidisha شلت هذا ني خالج لي president staff ناتزه دشنو ابن خبرنا عديل كنا أو the salary increase study will resume next month that's the salary studies كي نهجو بين كنا هذا قد an خلبه هزن دولة قد travel employees نصني أشهر ده نخل خدنات نخاخي حسن يجو يسي نتقاقو نشو عشان تبغي يجو نتجهدين كيدو تهيس آقو إنك شزيدو شنال نشيد كنا بدشني إياها نخاخي نسندو يجو تحت عشان تبغي كدو نشيد صد زندادي نهين دادي هجو ننادي تحتو هجو أنت ديل نسنا نخد هستيد ولا تو إياها تهيس آقو جاشي تهي نيتا ديشون تكونها شكيه دبتينا نتكادنا إن أيوسني لتشكي تكونها شكيه بانا شايجو كويتش بانا شنيه نها كوي نخيستو هجو إدو تدو زن لا تبين هيك هذا سوق إياها دو president دو جون بيشيل لها سناك دو بأشياء السن من توني هيك هستي ولا
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kim Russell with the Navajo Department of Health. She'e Kim Russell and she todich in Ishla Tatnisa ni Bashichin. In my few minutes that I have with you, I have a lot to share with you. So let me go ahead and dive in. It's always a pleasure to address the Navajo people, just to let you know what is happening at the Navajo Department of Health. First off, I'm really happy to report that we've been able to open up 2 new senior centers in the past couple of weeks here, one in Cottonwood and also one at Ganado. Just really happy to have these new resources for our elders. In addition, we finally have been able to fill the leadership position within the Division of Aging Long-Term Care Support with some really experienced leadership in Miss Marlinda Littleman. She's been in tribal government for a number of years and also has aging background and experience. So really happy to onboard her and lead the Division of Aging Long-Term Care Support in a really good way. I'm also looking forward to working with Leadership Council as well to really talk about what other types of long-term care support services could we provide in terms of the facilities that we build. Right now, we build a lot of senior centers, but no one can doubt that we have a need for facilities at a higher level of care. Our nation only has 1 nursing home for the whole nation. So we're really excited to work with council on figuring out what types of other higher scope of practice facilities do we need, for instance, like other nursing homes, assisted living facilities, skilled nursing facilities. So really happy to have some good leadership join the Division of Aging Long-Term Care Support. Also want to talk a little bit about some of the work that we're doing within the department with stakeholders in our community, specifically Johns Hopkins University, in the area of maternal and child health. We have various disparities for our people when it comes to maternal and child health. But as a nation, we have not identified priorities for us to work towards. And so working with the stakeholders who have been working in this space for many, many of years, largely our universities and nonprofits, we're coming together not only to share with one another what we currently are doing so that we can enhance one another's activities, but then to come together and decide on what priorities the nation wants to endorse and then work towards. So excited to work in that space, especially alongside First Lady Jasmine Nygren. So that's coming up, hopefully before the end of the year, we will have those priorities identified and also perhaps some initiatives to coincide with maternal and child health. We also wanted to update you as to some of the work my team has been doing to work with council, specifically the sponsor Delegate Tolf, and then co-sponsors Delegate Simpson and Delegate Yazzie. I'm happy to announce that council approved a resolution that approved a new site selection at KWRK for the building of the Gallup Indian Medical Center. This Gallup Indian Medical Center is the main hospital system for the nation, serves multiple families and communities across Navajo. And finally, we've identified that site to build. Excited to really look toward to the build of Gallup Indian Medical Center, but also beyond just Gallup Indian Medical Center, wanting to chat with leadership as to what Gallup Indian Medical Center could look like, but then also could we have a vision beyond just that one important building? Could we discuss what a medical campus could look like? So just to give you an idea of what a medical campus could look like, Gallup Indian Medical Center is just one component of a medical campus. Could that also include long-term care facilities, residential treatment centers for behavioral health services? Could it also include a biobank, which we do not have on the nation, and maybe maybe a nursing school? So really want to share that vision here with the nation here and have those further conversations with leadership to build out a section of KWRK that could be solely dedicated to health and wellness and medical. So I don't have a lot of time here, but always happy to report back to you all as to the great things that we're doing at Navajo Department of Health. Be safe out there. Happy 4th of July. Make sure to stay hydrated and to look out for your elders and young children as the heat increases. Happy 4th of July. Thank you.